Hey everyone, welcome back to Podcast and Chill. I'm Gwen.
And I'm Leo. We're excited to have you with us today.
Today we're discussing something super important. It is the benefits of reading.
That's right. Reading isn't just a fun pastime. It can really change our lives.
Exactly. From expanding our knowledge to improving our vocabulary, the perks are endless.
And let's not forget how it sparks our creativity and helps us relax.
So grab a book and join us as we explore these amazing benefits.
So, let's talk about why reading is so good for us. What's the first benefit on our list?
Let's start with expanding knowledge.
Reading is not just a hobby, it's a powerful way to expand our knowledge.
Absolutely. When we dive into a book, we're not just flipping pages.
It's like traveling the world without leaving your couch. We're learning about new topics, cultures, and even history.
Now that you mention history, people often think history books are boring. They are so dead wrong.
History books are not just about facts. They don't just tell you what happened, but why it happened.
And how those events shape the world we live in today. It's like connecting the dots between the past and the present.
It's fascinating how much depth there is in just one book.
And don't forget about culture. Reading books from different countries or by diverse authors is such an eye-opener.
I know, right? You get to see the world through someone else's eyes, and that's priceless.
Definitely. And it's not just that. Books can also teach us practical skills.
What skills are you talking about, Gwen?
Literally everything, Leo. For example, I read this book on personal finance, and it helped me budget better.
Same here. I once read a DIY book on fixing things around the house. Let's just say, I'm now my own handyman.
So whether it's learning about history, diving into different cultures, or picking up new skills, books really are little treasure chests of knowledge.
And the best part? They're always there when you're ready to learn something new.
Couldn't agree more. It's like they say, the more you read, the more you know. And honestly, who wouldn't want that? And speaking of skills, reading regularly can really improve our vocabulary and communication.
I think that makes sense.
Well, a study conducted by Rutgers University found that young children and even infants who are read to by their parents end up with stronger vocabulary skills.
Wow, so that's an official thing, huh?
Isn't it amazing how our vocabulary bank can get richer fast just by reading a book?
It's like your brain is a sponge, soaking up all those words.
That's so true.
And think about it. When we have a better vocabulary, we can express ourselves more clearly and effectively.
It's like having the right tools to build your thoughts into sentences.
Right. It's not just about sounding fancy either. It's about being clear and confident when you talk or write.
This is especially true when we read in another language.
That's right. Reading in another language is great for learning new words.
Plus, reading can even improve your grammar without you realizing it.
That's true. The more you read, the more you notice how sentences are structured. And that helps with writing.
The best thing is, books don't have to be complicated to help.
Agreed. Even simple stories can introduce you to useful phrases. It's all about consistency.
Exactly. Reading is like a workout for your brain.
And the payoff is that you become a better communicator.
I couldn't agree more. So, what else about reading is so beneficial to us?
Well, let's not forget the fact that reading boosts your imagination and creativity.
Oh, I love this part. Books create entire worlds in your mind.
I know, right? It's like watching a movie, but you're both the director and the actors.
Especially with fantasy books. I mean, who doesn't love imagining dragons, castles, or wizards casting spells?
It's like taking a vacation to a world that only exists in your head.
That's right.
And it's not just fantasy, even realistic stories can spark creativity.
You start thinking about the characters. Why do they act the way they do? And imagine what you'd do if you were them.
Right? It's like exercising your brain in a fun way.
For example, I read a sci-fi book about time travel, and it got me thinking, what if I could redo my day? What would I change?
Oh, that's cool. I had a similar experience with a mystery novel.
Tell me more.
It made me pay more attention to small details around me, just like the detective did in the story.
That sounds so cool.
See? Books don't just entertain us. They challenge us to think outside the box.
Yeah, and that kind of thinking can be really useful in real life.
It helps you come up with new ideas or solutions to problems.
Yep, reading is like fuel for your imagination, and it's the kind of fuel that never runs out.
All right, Gwen, let's go over some more vocabulary for today. First, dive into something. It means to start doing something with a lot of focus and energy. For example, I can't wait to dive into this new book I bought.
Second, be dead wrong. It means to be completely wrong about something. For example, I thought the meeting was tomorrow, but I was dead wrong.
Third, connect the dots. It means to understand how different pieces of information are related. For example, once I connected the dots, I realized why he was acting so strange.
Fourth, pick up something. It means to learn or acquire a new skill or piece of knowledge. For example, I picked up some Spanish while traveling in Mexico.
Finally, think outside the box. It means to think in a creative or unconventional way. For example, we need to think outside the box to solve this problem.
Now let's discuss two questions about our topic. First question is, what is one type of book that you enjoy reading and why?
For me, I love reading fantasy books because they let me escape into magical worlds.
That's awesome. For me, it's history books. I enjoy learning how past events shape today's world. Second question is, how does reading in another language help us learn faster?
I think it's because we see how new words are used in sentences.
Exactly. Reading teaches us grammar naturally, and we pick up useful phrases.
What about you, listeners?
Share your favorite books or tips for reading in another language in the comments below.
And do you know reading is actually amazing for reducing stress?
Of course. To me, whenever I get lost in a good book, it's like my problems fade away, even if it's just for a little while.
It's like pressing pause in real life, isn't it?
That's why I love reading before bed. It calms me down and helps me sleep better.
Totally.
So, I was reading a book on mindfulness the other day, and it had so many helpful tips for staying calm.
That's awesome.
Just reading it made me feel more in control of my stress.
I think the key is that reading makes you focus on something other than your worries.
Yeah, it feels like my brain gets a break from all the overthinking.
That's so true. A 2009 study at the University of Sussex found that reading can lower your heart rate and reduce muscle tension.
So it's like a workout for your mind, but a super chill one?
You're correct,
Well, I think everyone could use more of this brain workout.
for sure. So next time someone feels overwhelmed, I say, grab a book, find a quiet corner, and let yourself unwind.
Don't forget focus and concentration. Reading helps with those too.
True. Reading helps you practice being present.
By reading, you're focusing on one thing at a time, which is something we all need more of these days.
You're right. Now that with all those notifications, emails, and social media, our attention spans are getting shorter.
And it's not just about the act of reading, but also what you read.
Like what?
A mystery novel, for example, keeps you engaged because you're trying to figure out what happens next.
How about nonfiction?
If you're reading a book about, say, psychology, you need to really think about the concepts to understand them.
Well, so reading isn't just entertaining, it's also making us mentally sharper.
What do you think when I say reading also builds empathy?
I doubt that.
Well, let me tell you, research from the University of Toronto says reading fiction can enhance empathy and social skills.
So basically, every novel is like an emotional workout for your brain?
Totally, especially with novels. You get to feel what the characters are feeling.
Oh, so that's why when I read a book about someone overcoming challenges, I start to understand their struggles on a deeper level.
True, I had some similar experiences too. It helps me partially understand how it would feel to be in their shoes.
I guess even memoirs or books about other cultures open your eyes to different perspectives,
That kind of understanding is so important.
right? It helps you connect with people and build stronger relationships.
And it's not just about understanding others' feelings, but also their opinions.
I couldn't agree more. Books can show you why someone thinks the way they do, even if you don't agree with them.
And that makes conversations more meaningful, doesn't it?
Of course, instead of arguing, we're trying to understand.
It's like reading teaches us to listen, even if the storyteller is just a page in a book.
That's such a great way to put it. So, books aren't just stories, they're bridges to understanding each other.
Let's say every book is a chance to grow a little kinder. And finally, reading really keeps you learning, no matter how old you are.
Right? There's always something new to discover.
And it's not just about collecting facts, it's about growing as a person.
That's the magic of reading. Every book you pick up can shape who you are.
Even fiction, in its own way, can teach you valuable lessons.
Totally agree. And the best part? There's no finish line.
Sure, it's a lifelong adventure where you get to keep growing and learning every step of the way.
And all it takes is opening a book. That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
It really is.
All right, Gwen, let's go over today's vocabulary. First, get lost in something. It means to become so involved or focused in something that you forget about everything else. For example, I love reading. I can get lost in a book for hours.
Second, calm someone down. It means to make someone feel less upset or angry. For example, she helped calm me down when I was nervous before the presentation.
Third, get a break from something. It means to take a rest or stop doing something for a while. For example, I need to get a break from work. It's been a long week.
Fourth, figure out. It means to understand something or solve a problem. For example, I finally figured out how to use this new software.
Finally, be in one's shoes. It means to understand or imagine what someone else is experiencing. For example, if I were in your shoes, I'd be really nervous about the exam. So, Gwen, here's a question for you.
Sure, what is it?
Why do you think reading before bed helps with stress?
Because it calms me down and helps me sleep better by taking my mind off the day's worries.
That's a great point, Gwen. Now it's your turn to ask me a question.
Let me see. So, if you're feeling overwhelmed, what would you do to reduce stress?
I'd grab a book, find a quiet corner, and let myself unwind for a while.
That's a wrap for today.
We hope you enjoyed exploring the amazing benefits of reading.
Whether it's expanding your knowledge, boosting creativity, or just relaxing, books truly have so much to offer.
And remember, every time you open a book, you're not just reading.
You're growing, learning, and becoming a better version of yourself.
So grab a book, dive in, and let it take you on an adventure.
Thanks for tuning in to Podcast and Chill. I'm Gwen.
And I'm Leo. See you next time, and happy reading.